tumeweka shilingi bilioni 4 tukajenga kampuni ya kutengeneza bunduki. Ilifunguliwa juzi na rais. Bilioni ngapi? 4. Hiyo 4 bilioni. Na hiyo kampuni inaajiri watu 100. Watu ngapi? 100. Kama tungeweka a different investment, kama tungeweka investment hiyo 4 billion tungeweka katika manufacturing, katika informal sector, tungetengeneza nafasi 20,000 za kazi. How many? 20,000. Sasa hii tuko na watu wanafanya kazi 100. That's one example. Kama tungeweka the same 4 billion kwa program ya housing, tungetengeneza nafasi ya kufanya kazi 5,000. So that is why I am saying unahitaji kubadilisha sera, ujue kama uko na pesa kiasi fulani utaegeza mahali gani ambaye itakupatia nafasi kubwa aidha ya kutengeneza kazi ama ya kutengeneza biashara. Tunanielewa my dear sister? So unajua watu wengi wanauliza huko, nasikia kwa mtandao, hizi pesa William Ruto anasema atatoa wapi? It is not a question of looking for new money. Hizi barabara tumejenga 10,000 sio pesa mpya tulienda kutafuta. Ile pesa tulikuwa tunatumia milioni 100 kwa kilomita moja, tulibadilisha, sasa tunajenga kilomita 4 kwa milioni 100. The same amount of money, but we have changed the model.
All right, that is the Deputy President there speaking about that small arms factory in Ruiro in Kiambu County. It was unveiled on the 8th of April 2021. We'll be listening to what the President said about that particular facility. But Honorable Boss, we are coming now to the final year of the term, but that was remarkable because it is the very first time that the Deputy President is actually expressing some opposition to a project that is already under implementation. Is this now the reflection of how uninvolved the Deputy President has been in the second term? And why would he continue to serve in such an office where his input is not really required?
Okay, you'll allow me to respond to some of the issues that were raised before I answer your question. First of all, just watching this, I think since I came on the show this morning, I admire and envy William Ruto. He has dominated our discussions from the beginning to the end. He's on the headlines literally every single day. He is the person who's on every Kenyan's lips, whether in a nice way or a bad way. That tells you he is destined for the presidency. That's common sense when everybody sleeps. I think when you talk about the Deputy President remaining in government when he has objected to some of the projects that have been ongoing, first of all, it is common sense that the handshake caused a separation between William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta. And the other day, now that we have today is exactly 365 days to the next election. So you can say it's really over. We are now right into election year. You asked the question, why doesn't William Ruto leave? And I think Mheshimiwa here alluded to the fact that when you didn't agree with the government in the past, that was under the old constitution, then you walked out. The difference was those who walked out at that time were appointed officials. They were not elected. A deputy president used to be, a vice president used to be appointed by the president. The cabinet ministers are appointed by the president. So when you're appointed, you can walk away. But when you are elected by more than 8 million Kenyans, then you have earned the right to sit in that office, and it is only Kenyans who can remove you from that office. So there is no one who should be daring the deputy president to leave, because you did not appoint him, neither did Uhuru Kenyatta appointed him. Kenyans elected him. When we talk about, the war on corruption, which you have said, we know something. In Kenya, the conviction rate is sometimes 3% on all. Is 3% on all corruption cases brought before the court. The world standard in other countries is if any prosecutor does not have a conviction rate of 92%, you are fired from your job because it means you have failed. I have been to court many times in corruption cases. The most recent one being the one of Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. We were in court, and I was at DCI with him. And even at that time, we were sitting the entire day after his arrest, waiting for them to draft the charges. They only completed drafting the charges at 5 p.m., having picked him at 3 a.m. So we know very well that by the time they arrest somebody, they don't even have the charges. They're working backwards, and that is a fact. I saw the same case with Honorable Sudi. When he was arrested, they even picked him in a chopper in Nakuru, from Eldoret. When we landed in Nakuru, we waited until 7 p.m. as the person from NCIC, the prosecutor from NCIC, was typing with one finger the charges as we watched her. So it means by the time they arrest the person, they do not have the charges. Even when we went to court on the case of Honorable Rigathi, we asked for the evidence and the documents that they were planning to rely on in the prosecution, which is something that an accused person is entitled to under Article 50. Unfortunately, they asked the prosecutor, and you can look at the clippings, these are facts that happened. The prosecutor said, can you give me 2 weeks to assemble the evidence? So if they had actually completed their investigations, they should actually have the file and give it to us upon request immediately. I have never seen a court case recently in all these politically instigated court cases where the prosecutor has the charges at the time of arrest. Remember, the law requires that at the point of arrest, you must be informed of the charges against you and the reasons for your arrest. In fact, that particular law, that you must be informed of your charges at the point of arrest and be brought to court within 24 hours, was fought for by none other than Raila Odinga himself. Okay, Honorable, now he's allowing that particular law. Allow me to finish because you gave everybody a chance.
Because this matter is still going on, it's a matter that is in court. Can you just focus on the question that I raised with you about the small arms factory in Ruiru?
I'm getting there because I said
the Deputy President feels that 4 billion shillings should have been spent differently.
Okay.
Don't you think that would be missing the point when it comes to strategic investment in the country's security?
Hold on, Sam. You know, the three people spoke, and I didn't have a chance to respond to what they said. So I was making, yes, so now I was responding to that. Then I can answer your question. Or else then people will be speaking, and I don't have an opportunity to respond back. And I'm a lawyer, and I know I'm supposed to do that. I must respond. Thank you, and I've completed responding. Now let me go to the point of what the Deputy President said on that clip, that the investment, what he was trying to do there is he was explaining what it means to have a bottom-up economic model. That was, and he was giving an example. He was also giving an example. No, not giving an example. He was answering the question of where will you get the resources to invest in this bottom-up economic model. And therefore, he gave the example of the bullet factory. He's not necessarily objecting to it because it's already in process, but what he was saying is that if I were to make the decision using our economic model that he's proposing, he says instead of putting the 4 billion or so into the gun factory, which was going to hire 100 people, I would put the money into another investment that would produce more jobs, which means more people paying taxes, and which means that we could actually grow our economy. He was giving that as an example. Not that he says we should cancel the project or it should not have been done. He was explaining how the focus of where you put your money actually ends up creating employment and implementing the bottom-up economic model.
All right, but
so sometimes don't read things out of context.
Okay, let's listen to, because the President, while unveiling that factory, had a go at it with also the CS in charge of Interior Affairs, Fred Matiang'i. Listen to this.
Kama tungeweka investment hiyo 4 billion, tungeweka katika manufacturing, katika informal sector, tungetengeneza nafasi 20,000 za kazi. How many? 20,000. Saa hii tuko na watu wanafanya kazi 100.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is a game changer. Since our independence, Kenya has largely relied on imports for our firearms requirements, with only the Kenya Ordnance Factory providing a minimal domestic capacity.
Briefcase carriers who move around, sometimes even in Harambee House, looking for tenders to supply guns, tenders to supply equipment. And when that equipment gets here, it's probably twice or thrice the actual cost, of course, to the loss of the Kenyan taxpayers.
By venturing into arms production, Kenya seeks to enhance self-reliance, domestic innovation, and the strengthening of local manufacturing capabilities, while at the same time, which I am most happy about, offering decent jobs for our youths.
I think it's available on YouTube, my statement of yesterday, Leto. And if you listen to what I said, it is not what you're saying. I neither opposed, nor am I trying to run away from anything. Kama tungeweka the same 4 billion kwa program ya housing, tungetengeneza nafasi ya kufanya kazi 5,000.
Okay, so different opinions about the same project. Of course, the Cabinet Secretary and the President are saying that this is to deal with the tondopreneurs, or what was the name used there? The people that hang around the Harambee House looking for tenders and selling arms at double the cost or double the price. But the Deputy President says that he was misquoted. Is that what he said?
No, not exactly. Not exactly. I think what's the issue here is about. Yeah, it's not. Sam, it's not about being misquoted. It's a question of trying to blow things out of proportion. And let me explain why. There is a difference between capital-intensive projects and labor-intensive projects. Now, labor-based projects give jobs to the youth, because they ensure that, for example, if you're building one house, you need about 8 people. Now, capital intensive, they use machinery. They have high level of accuracy, but they have what you call capital flight. They take money out of our economy. And a very good example is that factory, for example. If you are to say, instead of building a gun factory, because we have a small arms issue around this region, it's a big issue. That's why you even saw that couple in Kiambu killing each other, because of people having, arms, and that's why you have conflict across Africa, across East Africa, the Horn of Africa. You would have, for example, used that money, for example, in housing, and you would have created so many. If you did at 1.5 million per housing, you are going to construct 54,000 houses. You get, and that one.
There's no problem with that, Senator.
No, let me
hold on. The Deputy President has quite explained how, if you had to invest in the housing project, you'd come up with about 5,000 jobs. If you had to invest in manufacturing, you'd come up with 20,000 jobs. There's no problem with that. What I'm asking is he expressing the bottom-up thinking towards the wrong target at a time that the President and the CS said that this is such a strategic investment that you need to carry because you need arms for our force?
It's about priorities, Sam. Exactly what you said. Because, for example, look at the expressway. 8 billion, 3 billion per kilometer. Where on earth does that happen? 3 billion per kilometer.
Which express?
So the 80 billion.
So
I think
can I please
let him finish. Give it a chance. You're next, actually.
Exactly. You have your.
Yes, just finish, Senator Maura.
So the issue is, how do you, for example, even if you are to improve transportation in Nairobi, Sam, in 2013-14, while I was in the budget committee, we estimated, and it was in the budget, that you needed about 25 billion to do a light rail around Nairobi. This expressway, 27 kilometers, is similar to the same in Uganda, which I've had the privilege of using. It's a road for the rich, and it is always empty. And if you had put that money, for example, in agriculture, how many farmers would you have been able to help? If you did this in a low volume, bitumen standard road, you would have done 3,500 kilometers with that kind of money. So it's a matter of priority. And you know, when we talk about that,
Senator Mora, I don't know where...
The idea is you create jobs for young people. You create jobs for young people.
Okay.
And so you are able now to actually stimulate the economy from the bottom up.
All right.
And so therefore...
Senator Mora, just hold on. I don't know where that explanation falls, because they keep telling us, at least the Minister of Transport and Roads, that the expressway is a public-private partnership. It's not money that the company is spending. I don't know about that.
Either way, the taxpayer is going to pay in the long run. That's the problem.
Okay.
The taxpayer is going to pay in the long run.
I asked a specific question about
and that is taxing the poor to give the rich a road that is
what do you make of
this?
this, and what happened? Because one would expect that such kind of investments, the Deputy President sits in the National Security Committee, he sits in Cabinet, it was sanctioned in 2017. One would expect that he would know and he would be involved in coming up with such a strategy, but now he feels things should have been done differently.
I think what he should have done, he should have complained about taking 15 billion to a foreign country from Kenya, not about the 4 billion that we are spending. Because if you go to the small arms, if you go to, from Equity Bank, if you go to the issue of 4 billion for arms, if you just look at what Kenya has spent on buying the APCs, is 10 billion. If we are manufacturing these more arms, every year we spend an average of almost 800 million shillings buying guns for the new police officers who actually graduate. Now, if you accumulate this into only a 5-year budget, you get the 4 billion we are talking about. So I like leaders who are not visionary. They are just obsessed by power. They don't care how you get it. Bora tu, you sneak in there. They don't care the details. The details are, we need this factory. It is not an annual or recurrent thing. And secondly, you don't want this idea of trying to incite the people about owning the means of production, like the Bolshevik revolution, the Russian one. You incite the people, they listen to you. By the time they come to you, you are actually an empty shell. You had no ideas of how to solve their problems. If you look at the population in Turkey, for example, in Pakistan, in Nigeria, in Egypt and Kenya, those countries, they have a 70% population which is youth, which is very easy to excite about a whole thing like this one, that the people who are in dynasties or the rich are the reason why you are poor. After they come closer to you, you realize that you have not a single capacity to provide 1 million jobs for out of the 22 of them. Which country, even if you go to America today, when you have 70% of your youth population, the economy in America can only provide about 1 billion jobs a year. The Kenyan economy, which is like 1% of the American one, cannot provide that 1 million. So when you have a leader trying to emerge by incitement, we have a danger.
But Honorable Maure, Kenyans are looking for solutions.
Exactly.
Honorable Opiyo Wandayi,
yes.
So when you hear the Deputy President expressing himself the way he did, he also said in a different clip that when I was substantive Deputy President, meaning that times have moved. So how do you see the final year of the UhuRuto tenure at a time that one is keen on fighting for the presidency and one is defining legacy, but also we are told working with your party leader in the matrix of 2022?
It is, it is really a paradox. And just like I had said earlier on, it's not conceivable that a deputy president can disown a government project which has been conceived, planned, funded, and executed while he's serving in that government. You can't, it can only happen in Kenya, not anywhere else in the world that I know of. Okay? But secondly, again, he misses the point. Because even if he was just to draw an example, he used a very wrong example. Because that factory, as you correctly put it, is a strategic investment. You cannot compare it, for instance, investment in manufacturing or in building houses. That's a strategic investment that will take care of so many things now and into the future. And in fact, the Cabinet Secretary Matiang'i answered him inadvertently by saying that by putting up that factory, they have solved the issue of cartels of entrepreneurs crowding at Orambe House looking for tenders, some of them which are fake, okay, to supply arms at more than double the price, some. And therefore, I find it very, very unpatriotic. Very, very for the Deputy President.
So how will the final year be?
Now, this final year is basically going to be a continuation of the confusion that the DP and his ilk have perpetrated in the last 4 years in government. You know, it is the interest, you know, even though not all of us can elect a government to office, but it is the interest of every citizen that the government that is in power remains cohesive, for it to continue to deliver services to the people sustainably. It's in our interest, objective interest. And therefore, if there is confusion which is orchestrated from within government, that we sustain using our taxes, then we have a reason to be concerned, even if we don't belong to the same party that forms that government. And that's where we are coming from.
All right.
As Kenyans, we have a right to call the Deputy President to order.
Honorable Boss, yes. I want you to have the final word, because we saw you alongside many other leaders, including Senator Moro here. I think from my count it was slightly over 100, both current and former members of Parliament.
135, 15 apologies, that makes us 153.
Which is fine. I'm just saying from my count it was more than 100 current and former. Even 150 is more than 100, Honorable Boss. But what I'm saying, so we thought that show is it of might on the side of the UDA, and there's a question that was posed: why don't the members of Parliament just resign? Because you're elected on Jubilee, now you're associating with UDA. In fact, the Deputy President called it a UDA PG, which I'm not sure that exists. But what shall we see in the next 12 months to the election? Will it reach a point and say enough is enough, let's go our separate ways now?
Okay, I'm going to answer that, but quickly, I just want to respond to the ignorance of Maoke Maore. I'm shocked. He said that 15 billion shillings was taken out of Equity to Uganda out of Kenya. First of all, I want to remind him that Equity is a Kenyan-owned and based bank with a branch in Uganda. With a branch in Uganda.
Let her finish.
Let me finish. Yeah, I'm just confirming the fact.
Is he confirming it or denying it?
Yes. Wow.
Can he say it is not true, then he calls me a liar. No, ignorance is a bit petty. If she says that what I said about the 15 billion.
My turn to speak.
Allow her to finish.
You got, Honorable.
No, but I never addressed you.
No.
She's addressing me. I'm saying,
let Honorable Boss just
respond. The best idea is Maure light.
We are coming to the tail end of the discussion. Let us not spoil it at the tail end.
But to say ignorance is a bit petty.
Okay. Yes. What Maoke Maore does not know, that Equity Bank is a Kenyan-owned based bank. Also, it has a branch in Uganda. It is perfectly in order for businessmen in Uganda to borrow money from Equity Kenya, which is the headquarters. And you know what? The Equity Bank pays taxes, so it is making money by being able to lend. The second issue that I want to talk to is you asked about the meeting, the UDA parliamentary group meeting that was held in Karen. First of all, UDA is an affiliate party of Jubilee. You have asked why we have not resigned. I don't resign because yourself or Maoke Maura have said so. I resign if the people of Uasin Gishu County have said I should resign. And it is agreed with the people of Uasin Gishu County that Jubilee no longer carries the aspirations of the people that I represent. UDA is resonating with the people I represent. It is talking about the things that matters to the people that I represent, and that is the economy. The biggest crisis we have in this country now is that we've had an economic downturn. We have had losses of jobs and great difficulty. Because of many factors. And right now, the party that is talking to the things that are paining Kenyans is UDA, which is an affiliate party of Jubilee. Remember that next year, sometime sometime in February, March, the law will allow us to migrate to any party that we decide, and that is the time. At the opportune time and the legal time, we shall move. But it is not for anyone to tell me to leave Jubilee, and in any case, supporting UDA is not an offense under the political parties law. Furthermore, you will remember the party leader of Jubilee supported an ODM candidate in Kibra, and the ODM candidate, and ODM is not an affiliate party of Jubilee. Also, Jubilee went into a handshake and a political agreement with ODM, and yet ODM is not an affiliate party. At least the party that we were associating with is an affiliate party of Jubilee. So we have committed no crime, and it is for no one to call us out to leave. We shall leave Jubilee when the people of Wasingishu tell me, I think you should resign and then come back for by-elections, which we are not afraid of in any case.
If anyone is asking you to quit,
I think you have also had
Citizen TV, because what you're talking about is the Political Parties Act that says that a member shall champion the agenda of their party, and when that changes, then there are certain procedures to be taken. But
it's an affiliate party of UDA.
And just a bunch of
your right of reply.
Yeah, but the right of reply is from our own description. If you have an investor from America, that investor brings money from America. If you have an investor from Europe, they bring money from Europe. But this aspect of an investor coming around to ask money locally, you would actually end up with something called money laundering. Now, I want to be a bit polite to my sister. When she is on this kind of show, you show some decorum. Ignorance, it is somebody who doesn't know what they are talking about. What I'm talking about is that the money by this imposter, actually is an imposter, not an investor. An investor comes with money. Nobody has
an imposter with certainty, or you suspect?
No. But why would you come to collect money here to invest here if you are an investor? That's what I'm talking about.
Look, we don't have the facts of this matter, so
not about facts. How come the fellow is mysterious, even when there has been...
When you are disputing the name in ignorance, then you are using imposter. Are you also correct?
I'm not referring to you.
No, we are talking about
decorum on you, not the way about the
I
think they want to sound that they are the ones who...
No. The issue is if we have to have decorum, let's also use...
How is he an investor?
Proper...
Asante sana for making time for us. I want us to take a look at the feedback that have been sending to us via Twitter, Citizen TV Kenya. Sam Gituku, the hashtag being Debreko. Why is it? Here is it. On Twitter, at Citizen TV Kenya, the hashtag being Debrek. Let's see what Kenyans are saying. And this is Rawlings. As we begin an official 365-day countdown, all leaders should know that 5 or 10 years is such a long, so short a time that he must build a nation and not spend time in political shenanigans and machinations. Whoa. Very soon, Uhuru Kenyatta is handing over. Well, that has to happen. Engineer Lazaro, DP is a victim of his own government. He shouldn't shift the blame to opposition chief who doesn't enjoy things like intelligence briefings or attending cabinet meetings. Kiprono Abraham, even road to heaven, we are told, is not easy. Ruto's frustrations are preparing him for another whipping after winning next year. Nothing comes cheap. Jacob Abere, siasa usiweke kwa roho. What we are seeing happening to a person of DP Ruto isn't new. Jaramogi Oginga, as from 1966, got himself in a fix to systems until he resigned. That was your feedback that you've been sharing with us. There's so much more. Wish we had time to read it. Up next is Sporting Monday with Willis Raburu and his team to talk about action on the pitch, including the not so good news for Manchester City. Honorable Maoka Maore, Senator Isaac Mwaura, they're actually friends. They're actually now consulting. Honorable Gladys Boss and Opio Wandai, asante sana for making time for us. This conversation continues as we get into the final year of the UhuRuto term. Bye for now. My name is Sam Gituku.